here's the part where it starts to contradict a little bit. Everyone who knew who Spider-Man was when he unmasked would remember who he was.
Correct.
Now, Peter Parker used to live in Avengers Tower with Aunt May and Mary Jane. The new Avengers knew who he was. Half the people on that new Avengers team should know who he is because of this storyline setup. Luke Cage should know who he is, but no, he doesn't. Jessica Jones obviously knew him from high school, but she should know. Luke Cage should know when he's talking about it because it just happened. Ms. Marvel should know.
Right.
She was. So half the new Avengers team should all, because of this storyline and the way Dan Slott set up.
Right.
They should know. But no, because Bendis needed to do it first. So now how is Bendis going to, fix that shit? Which he won't because he never does. He's just going to leave it out there and he's not going to get back to it. It's, oh man.
No, I know.
So frustrating.
And this is and people who've watched these shows for a long time know that Jose and I kind of take opposite tacks, and with this whole Slott versus Bendis thing, I've tried to be the advocate and say, well, it's not like editorial is talking or they're not really communicating, but this is an egregious example of the Spider-Man editors and the Avengers editors aren't talking. They're just not. Dan Slott and Brian Bendis are not talking. If you're doing something this significant with this character, you really should be talking with each other and consulting. Okay, this is how I'm going to handle it. This is how you would handle it, and so on. I mean, it's one thing if it's just a minor subplot thing and stories that are. I know stories are difficult to coordinate. I know that getting things in books to work all together.
But oddly enough, they weren't really different. They weren't difficult to coordinate 10 years ago.
Well, okay, they were. You had contradictions like this even before. That's where you've always had continuity gaffes, and you've always had people like us pulling it out. But at least back then,
they actually had editors' notes and stuff like that.
Right. They had editors' notes. They had people really conscious of that and trying to coordinate it. It just seems to me right now, no one's bothering.
Right. And Dan Slott did come out and say that this story does take place before New Avengers 51.
Right.
That should have been an editor's note. But again,
even then,
now it doesn't. Now it's not even syncing up because the whole explanation to people should know who he is now. They should have their memories. They don't have that in New Avengers.
Right, and the fact of the matter is, and I have yet to get a valid explanation for this. And I've said this before: Spider-Man unmasked on television to the world, the whole friggin' world. Okay, the whole friggin' world forgot who Spider-Man was. Well, all somebody needs to do is play a tape of that unmasking. They're going to remember who Spider-Man is. Okay? Do you tell me Mephisto also erased all those tapes? And if all those tapes, all that video suddenly disappears, no one's going to notice that? I find that very hard to believe. So.
But getting back to it, I think they're retconning that whole Mephisto thing. Because Peter Parker would not be... I don't think he would remember that he made a deal with the devil.
Well, technically, he didn't make the deal. Mary Jane made the deal.
Right, but true. Which, speaking of which, there's a nice little fuck you to all your fans of the marriage in here. Because Peter Parker is in this parallel, or in this macroverse, and time is passing very quickly. 2 months pass while they're there. And when he comes back, there's a really kind of a cool, kind of knew what was going to happen. There's a cool ending because he's been gone for 2 months.
Right.
So it shows everybody's relationships, what everyone's doing, why Peter Parker is in the macroverse, and people are calling him on his answering machine. And his answering machine is starting to fill up. The very last message, the very last message here, they have the word balloon of what his message is, and this is the message that is left for him. Hey, Tiger, I thought you should know now. I'm sorry. Hey, Tiger, I thought you should know. Dash. Beep. Message machine is full. So
even Mary Jane doesn't get to leave a message.
So first of all, everyone who was a fan of the marriage, and Mary Jane's finally contacting him, and she's about to tell him something maybe important. We don't even get to know because the fucking answer machine. So I know Dan Slott did that on purpose. Kudos to Dan Slott because he's just poking us. And he's just driving us crazy. But again, I saw that. I'm like, oh, come on. Really? Yeah. Just give us something. But, well, it was a little bit of something.
You know, I think can I tell you? I don't think, on a related note, Superman and Lois Lane shouldn't be married anymore. I really think Superman needs to be single again, so you can really explore the full range of that character. Because I mean, to me, unless Superman has single problems, he's not a full character.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, though, too, is that all of Peter Parker's prospects for females, while he's gone, all are hooking up with other people because he's gone for 2 months. So they're meeting other people, and now they're in relationships. So all the women who he did have a possibility of being in a relationship with them, they are now taken. Because of him being away for so long. They get into that in these side stories. Yeah.
It's all fine and dandy, but the reality is that Spider-Man is Mr. Sad Sack. I've always related to him more when he had girl problems. When he was hooked up with a hot chick, you just don't relate to him as much. Because let's face it,
I'm going to punch you in the face. You're kidding, right?
Comic guys don't want to see their heroes hook up with hot women.
Right. Okay.
They don't. They just don't. We don't want to see our heroes happier than we are. We want them to suffer along with us.
Well, then you must be really loving this Dark Reign shit.
Oh, the Dark Reign. Oh, I'm really loving it because the innocent must suffer, as Sam Raimi would say. All right. I think that's that. I'm really kind of. And a lot of folks are going to say that's just a nitpick. I know.
But the stories are just told a month apart. That's not a nitpick. That's just really... It should be handled better, and... I don't know. What the fuck are they paying the editors for?
I don't know. I know.
What the fuck do editors do nowadays?
Well, I know my editor right now. I just got some notes back on a project I'm working on, and he said, you need to fix this and that. And I'm like, okay, I can do that. And it shows that he's paying attention, So, yeah, you're right. What does Marvel editorial do?
Just fuck shit up, and that's what Joe Quesada does. He's editor in chief. So, what are the other editors going to do? That's who they have to look up to, Joe Quesada. Jesus.
And I've given up any hope of ever working for Marvel. So, All right, we're going to end this segment on that. When we come back, we have some other topics to move on to. We hope we see you then.